All right. Happy to have you along, my fellow tech enthusiasts. I'm Sam Bushman, Jay Harrison with me. He's still trying to get his video stuff taken care of, man. Setting up videos. You got to find a space. You got to have great background. You got to buy a camera. Man, Jay, we got to catch you up on tech, buddy. Welcome to the show. All right. First off, we've got so many different things going on in the news. First off, you got a 0-day vulnerability. You got to update Chrome, right?
That's every day. Yeah, we just put that on the bulletin board, and everybody knows, when you show up on Monday.
Every day you got to update Chrome, Jay?
Yeah, just about, right?
Man, what a tragic situation to say the least. All right, well, don't worry. I guess X is in the news, huh, Jay?
Yes, they are. They absolutely are.
They've rolled out a replacement for their direct messaging functionality, and I guess it's got new features and capabilities. They're adding it's a chat platform now that's got voice, video calling, the ability to share files as well. I don't know, what are they trying to do, compete with Teams, Jay?
I think they are. I think they're trying to compete with everybody. Telegram and iMessage and Teams and everybody, it seems like.
They say end-to-end encryption, screenshot notifications, disappearing messages, everything, right?
Yeah, a lot of these features were pioneered by Telegram. They're privacy focused, and they're trying to get this set up so that in old days it was always just DM me on X or Twitter, and now they want it to roll it into a full-fledged messenger. The X also said that they're working on a voice memo feature for users so they can exchange audio message. Kind of reminds me of the Nextel beep beep days, where you could send somebody
like a push
little
to talk almost.
Yeah, exactly, the push to talk, which is also a current feature of Telegram, another messenger. So they're wanting to roll it out and be a full-fledged messenger.
But if they do some of that, what's that Marco Polo, I think it's called? Anyway, where you could basically post I don't know what you want to call it, audio video messages, and then people can watch them, and they can even start watching them behind you posting them. So they're not quite live, but if I start it and I'm on minute 2 and I'm talking and you can start and you're behind me, as long as it stays ahead, it's fine or whatever. But Marco Polo is kind of an app that's used a lot in a little bit of the fashions we're talking about here.
Yeah, that's right. And now I haven't used that one personally myself as much, but I've heard of ones like that are similar.
All right, there you have it. Anyway, we thought that's interesting. X, everybody trying to move into the best social media, whatever you want to call it, right, Jay?
Yeah, everybody wants to be your messenger. You've got Snapchat wanting to do that. You've got Teams now. Microsoft pushes that every time it updates. Even if you uninstall it, it puts it back on your computer. Everybody wants to be in that space because it's very valuable. It's where everybody checks. It's kind of the position that Facebook was 10 years ago. Everybody wants to be in that position.
And everybody wants to have all knowledge about the universe. Elon Musk and company really pushing on that, huh?
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. Elon says that, he's had this Grokpedia that he was trying to put together as a direct competitor to Wikipedia, because he says that Wikipedia kind of leans too left or too woke a lot of times. And he's had Grokpedia. He calls it version 0.1. It's available now. I've used it some. It's underwhelming a little bit, but I think it's a good start. But what's cool is he said that he's going to rename it when he's ready, when he thinks that it's good enough. He's going to rename it to Encyclopedia Galactica, kind of a spinoff on the old Encyclopedia Britannica that we used to have.
Britannica, there you go.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And I guess the Galactica is just kind of meant to denote the virtual nature of it, or the SaaS nature of it, or what?
No, I think it's meant to denote the universal aspect of it's going to be all of humanity's knowledge kind of thing. Universal, just the whole galaxy of knowledge.
And is this going to just overtake Wikipedia, because it's basically Wikipedia with AI on steroids? Is that what it is?
Well, it's intended to be an open source, massive repository of all knowledge of the universe, he says. He says many copies will be distributed periodically throughout the solar system to preserve the knowledge for future civilizations should ours perish or subside into barbarism. And we take the lesson of the Library of Alexandria to heart. Like, let's not lose this knowledge. And, there's some thoughtfulness and some, I think, pretty cool ideas behind that.
Yeah, there's also a threat of trying to pretend we got God mode when we don't, kind of a discussion. So there's a balance
That's
that we need
also
to be really careful
worthy
about,
of debate. Yeah, you don't want the Encyclopedia Babylon Tower, right?
And that's kind of the deal. So we'll see what happens with that. But Elon Musk is serious about it. It's no joke, and it's coming to what? Chatbot near you, Jay?
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, OpenAI is offering a special deal for you, Jay.
Yeah, they are. OpenAI has said that they're going to offer 1 year free subscription of ChatGPT Plus. That's the one that's usually $20 a month to U.S. veterans and service members within 12 months of their separation or retirement to help them ease the transition of civilian life. So if you've been a veteran, you've been on ship, you've been doing whatever, you've been in the military, and you're getting out, they're saying, hey, we'll give you a 1 year pass to the pro version of ChatGPT to, you can ask questions. You can maybe help you with getting reacclimated to being a civilian.
I appreciate that it's free for some people and all that kind of stuff, and I think it's a good move on their part because, that's what Apple did back in the yesteryear days. They were always kind of the education. Every classroom had Apple or whatever PCs, Macintosh PCs in them, or computers, I should say, not PCs really. Personal computers, right? Not Windows. Anyway, the Mac and the Apple, they did that with the education arena, and you have a whole bunch of people that grew up, on Macs. And so, getting people hooked on technology is really, I don't know. On one hand, it's a little bit sinister. On the other hand, I can see the value in it that, hey, whatever you're familiar with, you stick with, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they even call my generation that grew up in the late 70s the Oregon Trail generation. It's because of those Apple IIe's that were put into classrooms, and people got used to that. It's the same reason that Microsoft wants to get Office into the colleges and into the classroom, and Google with Chromebooks and everything else, because just like you said, that inertia, once you've learned something, once you know how to use it, moves on forward into the workplace and beyond.
And people really resist change too, ladies and gentlemen. But when you said Oregon Trail generation, that's what made me laugh. Is my kids grew up playing Oregon Trail, right?
Yeah, I for sure did. I remember doing that.
Cool game.
First experience really on a computer probably was that for me in grade school. So,
all right. Well, these are typically rivals, ladies and gentlemen. But strange bedfellows, is that the term they use for it? I don't know. Anyway, headline: Apple nears deal to pay Google. Jay, what's up with this?
Yeah, Apple's going to pay Google $1 billion annually to power their new Siri, a report says, which we all know that Siri's kind of been lagging behind with all of the, Grok and OpenAI and ChatGPT and everything that's out there right now. And Apple is turning to Google's technology to help revamp Siri and power, there's my phone responding to the S word. It's going to, for an upcoming feature slate that they're going to release, basically, this is going to be a custom version of Gemini. It'll be skinned as Siri, and Apple has said that this is a temporary solution until their own AI becomes powerful enough. They have said that they've also considered other AI models from OpenAI, Anthropic earlier this year, testing them along with that, but they say the solution is going to be Google. According to Bloomberg, the overhauled Siri is expected to launch next spring. However, since the launch is still months away, plans for the revamp could change.
It's kind of bizarre to me, though. They're blatantly admitting in this that they don't have, the intelligence or the systems to make this happen. They say they've looked at other agents or, other different AI capabilities and other systems that do this kind of assistance. And they felt like Google was the best one. They say it's temporary, though, right? Till they get their technology up to speed is what they're saying, right?
Yeah,
that's a weird admission, isn't it?
It is a little bit to say we're behind on the AI 8-ball, but I think it's good. I'd rather do that than to roll out something that's not as good or has problems, and and they try to just sell it or tell you that, oh no, this is great, and it's not keeping up. So I think it's probably a good idea on their part.
I think people are pretty savvy when they get lied to, though, Jay.
Yeah, that's true. And they get burnt.
It's like Donald Trump literally saying, hey, this affordability thing is a hoax. Every time I fill up my gas tank, it ain't a hoax, buddy. And every time I pay my house payment, my insurance, it ain't a hoax to me. Hang tight. You're watching TechWatch Radio. I'm Sam Bushman. Jay Harrison with me. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. Brought to you by NPITechGuys.com. NPITechGuys.com. This gets kind of crazy and goes all sideways. But there you have it. We recover sometimes when it's live, sometimes we post edit, but we take care of business nevertheless. So, Jay, Google released this update to Chrome with a 0-day vulnerability I wanted to mention. I don't really understand it exactly. I understand the 0-day vulnerability part, but man, we're starting to just get so much updating from so many softwares. It's like I can't even hardly compute anymore. I'm too busy updating applications all the time.
Applications updated all the time.
I know, but I can't. I have things to
You
try to
have
do
to.
with
You
my
got to put it
computer.
on. You got to put it on autopilot. You can't.
I can't put it on autopilot because then it wants to reboot my computer in the middle of what I'm doing, and it wants to do all kinds of goofy crap, pop-up reminders, and harass the living heck out of me.
Everything's in the cloud now, Sam. You don't even need it. Your computer's just a thin client to access the web.
All right. Anyway,
Right?
It seems like a disgrace to me.
I understand, but yeah, that's the way it is.
I think we need to write slim, capable, happening software. And I think certain software belongs in the cloud, but not everything, Jay.
Yeah, that's true.
Why do I need my text editor in the cloud, for example?
Well, your text editor's not going to be a text editor anymore. You know, Microsoft said they're going to add bold and all of these markups, these rich
I want them to stop
text
that.
editors.
Don't do that. No. Stop.
I know.
Stop. I don't want that. I want pure ASCII text, baby. Zeros and ones. Come on.
No, you're going to have tabbed browsing now. You're going to have markup in your text editor, your text-only editor, and you're going to love it.
I'm going to have AI, too. They're putting AI in what? Notepad now?
For sure. Copilot, man.
Because then it'll basically summarize my notes and everything else. And anyway, I'm just telling you, it's just crazy town. What's going on? Gabriella Vadu, I don't know how to say the name. Vatu? She's an editor at PC World, and I guess they put together an online shopping guide for tech things for us, Jay, that we can kind of check out and everything. Did you see this?
I like that. An online shopping guide.
Yeah.
So
did you see the 16 things that this person says that buy every one of them in a blink of an eye?
Okay. One of them that I see here is an arcade Pac-Man Pocket Player Pro. Highly portable, requires 4 AA batteries or USB-C power, retails for $30 on Amazon. I'm not going to buy that. I can play Pac-Man on my phone. Why would I carry another device that has to take AA's or a USB-C port and, you know, it plays a retro game
let me tell
from
you why, Jay.
40 years
because
ago.
You might not want your kids on a phone, but you might want them on this, lockdown device, right?
I know, but you can buy an emulator for $40 that's like a Game Boy and has 20,000 games in it, including Pac-Man.
Oh, so you don't need Pac-Man all by itself anymore?
No, in fact, I have one of these. My kids use
If they put it in the cloud, then you won't need any of that,
Yeah, and then it'll run on your phone, just like I said. You can put your phone in guided
access. The next one's
access.
interesting, Jay.
The next one is the Clock Tech Nixie Tube Clock. Now, these are kind of cool. They're a little bit pricey. They're priced at $70. They offer Wi-Fi connectivity, multiple display modes, and customized alarm. This is a clock that, if you're not familiar with Nixie tubes, they're they look like neon, kind of in glass, and they have all the numbers in there, and it just lights up the appropriate one, and it looks very retro, kind of steampunk. Pretty cool. Lots of tech people, I think, would like that gift. So that's kind of cool.
Sounds kind of expensive though. $70. What does the Wi-Fi do?
The Wi-Fi can let you sync your time, so you don't have to keep setting it. You know what I mean?
I see.
Keeps
okay.
like NTS, time sync, and stuff like that. Probably allows you to push alarms from your phone and things like that to it. You know, I'm not sure in this specific
Would you buy that one, Jay?
But would I buy that one? No, because the only person I can think of that might want it would be me. Like, most of my friends. Maybe I'll buy it for Sam or something, but,
All right. Anyway, I'm just saying. So far, the first two, I wouldn't buy either of them, and neither would Jay. But the author would. And we're not downing the author. We're kind of highlighting these because the author did a lot of great work, and we're kind of commending the author of this article for her great work, basically saying, hey, here's the stuff to look at. We're checking out new tech right now, right?
Yeah, and let's say you did know somebody, going back to the first one, who just loved Pac-Man. They could be tickled pink if they remember this from their childhood, and it's nostalgic, and it could be a great thing. I'm just thinking, to me, Pac-Man's just any retro game. You could just lump it in with them all and make it easy. But
yeah, there you go. Well, how about a what do they call this thing? A Crowlbo Crook Nook or Book Nook?
Cryle Pro Book Nook. It's a DIY kit priced at $34. Offers a create your own miniature world experience. These are kind of like, if you have a bookshelf, they make these little inserts that you kind of put between the books, and sometimes they're lighted and they look like a little library or a little shop maybe in Tokyo and things like that. They're cool little things. If you find somebody who has a lot of books and likes that sort of thing, it could be a cool thing. $34.
I don't know that I would buy one of those though, Jay.
I probably wouldn't either. I have a lot of books, but again, I know I'm a tech guy. They're all on my phone. I've got hundreds of books in Audible, and I've got.
Okay, well, in that sense, I got a lot of books too.
Yeah,
I just meant physical books on a bookshelf with this gadget. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't have
a day late and $1 short is what I think.
I mean, I'd love to have a library, with a fireplace and stuff like that, but I just, I don't really have that. It's a little old school.
Yeah, as soon as we make it so rich in the tech world, then we'll buy that.
Yeah, exactly.
Until then,
It's on my bucket list, but it's not on my Christmas list.
Best choice products.
Best Choice Products offers a foosball table with multiple colors and cup holders for $120, 25% discount currently applied. That's kind of a cool thing, I guess. I don't have the space for it. I don't know about you, Sam.
Yeah.
The house gets smaller every year.
But if you did have the space for it, though, that's actually one that I might get some kids, though. That's at least
that is
interactive
pretty cool.
and involvement, and people can hang around during family reunions or Christmas or whatever holidays, Thanksgiving, and play that. And I think
helps
it keeps
alleviate
kids
the
home
screen
and kinda
time.
happy, having fun, get off the screens for a minute. I dig it.
Yeah.
I think that one's a good one. So that might be the first one out of these 4 so far I would buy, right?
Right.
All right, what's this next one? I don't even know what this is.
You got to pronounce it for me there, Sam.
Forky?
Zorqui Metakaisen feature, a set of Dungeons and Dragons discs that are available for purchase. That a lot of people are into that now. It's kind of making a comeback. It's one of those retro things again that's circling back around, Dungeons and Dragons. I see a lot of people making cool 3D printable things for that.
Yeah.
Another one is the Darth Vader Funko Pop.
Would you get that one though, Jay? Hold on. Would you buy that?
That
Dungeons
disc
and
set?
Dragons deal? Yeah.
It doesn't even say a price, and I don't know more. I'd have to know more details about that one.
Anyway, the reason it doesn't have a price is because it's various sets, and so it depends on what you select. Is the point? They're just kind of saying, "Hey, that's a really cool thing. If you're into D&D, then that's good. Good for you." And they need to take D&D to the tech world, Jay. More.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I'll probably just buy dice. They're probably cheaper.
All right, Darth Vader though. I'd rather have the Darth Vader thing than the Dungeons and Dragons thing, personally.
The Funko Pop. Do you collect those? I don't have any of those. I know those are those bobble, like oversized head bobble statue things.
It's kind of like what Blake Shelton has on The Voice, but yet it's Darth Vader, right? Anyway, $10 a pop on those babies if you're interested in that. But I'd rather have that than the D&D thing.
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
I'd rather have
Dungeons
the $10.
All right, you got me there.
National
Geographic, Jay.
They're offering an Epic Circuits Science Kit, which includes over 120 projects for $44. Now that sounds cool. That's the kind of stuff that I would get when I was a kid. I like that stuff.
Yeah, and when they say projects, that's interesting to me, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
remember
that's super
those.
Cool.
I remember as a kid those kits that had all the little springs and the individual components. You'd have capacitors and resistors and motors and things like that, and you could just wire them together with the wires over, attaching them to the springs. Radio Shack used to sell kits like that. I don't know if it's the exact same thing, but those are cool. A lot of that stuff inspired me and kind of, set me toward engineering and electronics and the things even that we do in radio now.
Really?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I would, if you have a kid in your life that enjoys that kind of stuff, definitely. Now, the next one is Lego.
And by the way, hold on. Even if you don't have a kid in your life that enjoys that stuff, if they're kind of trying to learn about what they do enjoy, maybe it's something to get and do with your kid where, a lot of times kids don't know what they enjoy yet, right? And so it's for me, it's an experimental, it's almost a homeschool side project. Very cool.
One of the best ways to get your hands on and learn electronics is to just build some simple circuits. And a lot of those kits have sort of like a lesson plan that starts out easy and builds more and more complicated things.
Yeah, back in the day, Radio Shack used to have buddy boxes for that very purpose, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now you got to get them on Amazon or on some other place, I guess. But there you have it. All right, Legos. Legos have got to be in every Christmas, right, Jay?
Absolutely. That's a given. I mean, I know this year we've got a lot of Lego stuff for people. So Legos is all about it. Their toolbox, this is the kit 17101, allows building of interactive models and is compatible with tablets for guided access and activities. So
so now that's really cool tech twist to this, Jay.
Yeah, kind of. You can go online. You can add your have tablet access in there, but it's a tech Lego kit.
And when you use this, they call it interactive models with guidance, and so it kind of helps you put together different projects, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's pretty cool. I mean, just imagine, you know how when you're trying to build a furniture thing or you get something from somewhere and you got to put it together and everything else, and they give you these bogus static pieces of paper that are hard to read and hard to. Okay, this one's going to be way better, dude. They're going to show you what's going on.
They might be in poorly translated English, and you can't really see. This would be hopefully something that's movable and almost video and help you put things together. And
so I'm hoping that they can take this Lego idea and that they can start to put, if you get a different, whatever piece of furniture, whatever, I'm hoping you could basically scan a QR code on it eventually, and then, hey, you'll get some real serious video with people showing you the real deal, not just these weird drawings that are like, is this nut 42 or nut 67? I'm not sure which one's which. And
the best part is
stuff.
You don't lose the manual that way. You can always have it on your tablet.
That's right, and you get better guidance too. All right, we got a whole lot more, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching and listening to TechWatch Radio. We keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. Back with you live, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Bushman, Jay Harrison. Keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. Gabriella Vadu over at PC World has a shopping list of cool things for your tech family. We're in that list. I would buy the National Geographic stuff. I would also get the Lego stuff. I think those are very cool. What about this electric screwdriver set, Jay? This one's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's a 70-in-1 mini electric screwdriver set, USB-C rechargeable, costs $50. Seems a little pricey to me, but 70-in-1's a lot of stuff.
Stravidio?
So.
Is that who makes it? Is it Stravidio?
Yeah, Strabitio. Bitio? I don't know. I don't know how you say that.
I think so, yeah. Anyway, it's an electric screwdriver set. It's USB-C rechargeable. So, you can hook it to, I guess, a USB-C hub or whatever, and you can charge the thing. You can hook it to a wall and, Anyway, very interesting. $70, quite expensive, but
$50.
How many do you get 70 or $50? How do you get 70? I mean, that's 70 connectors. That's pretty good, Jay.
Yeah, it's 70 bits for it. Because you got a lot of security bits in different sizes and the double-aught Phillips and the really small ones and stuff. So it's pretty cool. I like it. I've seen some on in different places, TikTok, eBay, Amazon, that are very similar to this. Usually they fold up in a little like square or round kit with all the bits in there. Again, $50 is a little on the high side, but it's but they're a pretty cool gift, especially for somebody who takes things apart.
Yeah, and if you get one, though, for Christmas, don't tell people they spent too much on it, Jay. Don't do that.
Yeah. No, you don't even ask. You just say thank you.
You just smile and say thank you. This is incredible. And by the way, it is. I mean, that many bits. If you find a project that you can't find the bit for, I'll be surprised on that, baby. That brings me to the point we ought to move to the metric system, and then you wouldn't need as many bits, but I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yep. That's another argument for
All right, this Raspberry Pi, man, this one's kind of cool. Was it Broztech?
Raztech offers, Raztech for the Raspberry Pi, offers a Raspberry Pi kit with accessories and tools for various DIY applications. Pretty cool. The Raspberry Pi is, we talked about this, I think, in a previous show where they're having to up some of their prices because RAM is getting hard to get. I've been playing with some very small computers right now, made by GMK Tech, and they're number one, they're smaller than the Raspberry Pi. Number two, they're far more powerful, and they run Windows 12 or Windows 11 They have 12 gigs of RAM. That's what
They
that's
run
12 's
Windows
my-
12. That's incredible. I want to
I
get one of
know.
those.
That's futuristic, isn't it?
I'm just
They're already
kidding.
on 12.
Well,
but
hopefully Windows 12 will be good.
they have 12 gigs of RAM. They run Windows 11, and they're a little more expensive than a Raspberry Pi, but not too much. They're in the
mini
180 to
PC-esque?
250. What's that?
Are they mini PC-esque? Is that what they are?
They're mini PCs, yeah, kind of based on the NUC system, the Intel NUC, and they're small. They're like trying to think of something. They're smaller than a baseball. I'll put it that way.
They're smaller than a Raspberry Pi, huh?
Yeah, smaller than a Raspberry Pi. They're a little bit taller, but they're.
And how much is this RazTech kit if you want to get it for your family?
It doesn't say on the notes that I have, but I would. It also depends because these are Raspberry Pis, probably or Raspberry Pi 5s. Depends on how much memory you get in. You've got a 2 gig, a 4 gig, and an 8 gig version of that, so that's going to change the price too.
And then storage is another kind of discussion, right?
Yeah, storage is for the Raspberry Pi is all going to be on a TF card, on the little micro SD cards.
Right. I'm just saying you can get different sizes of that too, though, right?
Correct. Yep.
So I'm just saying that kind of changes the pricing and everything else. All right, 12 Arcade Classic, Jay.
Yeah, another arcade classic. Sells a retro mini arcade game for $20. Features classic games like Pac-Man and Tetris. This might be a better deal than the other one, which is just a one game for $30. But retro gaming is pretty lucrative. They're still making a lot of money on those old games because they're classics and
Not
there's
only
so much
that,
nostalgia.
I like it because it's kind of a simpler, more innocent world, right, Jay?
Yeah, there's a lot of nostalgia there. And a lot of I see people pushing a lot of the very, very simple older games like what you would see on the on like the Atari or maybe some really, really early arcade systems, maybe even the 8-bit Nintendo. But I really think that the sweet spot for gaming happened around, and it's probably because of my age and where I'm at and where I was as a kid when this came out. But I think the 16-bit systems, the Sega Genesis, the Super Nintendo, that's the sweet spot of gaming where it's not hyper realistic, and yet you can still do a lot of stuff, and it's so I like the retro gamers that have that kind of technology in them. Some of that other stuff almost seems a little too simple to me.
There you have it. Some of the stuff also seems overly complex and violent and everything else, and there's kind of a sweet spot though, the classics and the arcades, and that kind of style was just clearly gaming. There was no confusion of reality versus whatever. When you immerse yourself, immersive technology, if you're not very careful, gets difficult for some young people to kind of really understand, hey, this is just flat out a game. And there's a lot of that stuff kind of on the cusp of new gaming too, Jay.
That's right. Next one up is Numbskull.
And it's turning everybody into numbskulls, Jay.
Numbskull, which is a company, produces a Minecraft-themed gaming accessory locker and storage stand. Retails for about $30. So that's just another kind of gift idea, a little stand that's sort of like a locker for your whatever. You put your Switch in there and your other gaming stuff, I guess.
All right, so I would get that RozTech Raspberry Pi one. I would get that Arcade Classic for only $20, a bunch of games. That's kind of cool, just especially if it's, the Numbskull Minecraft thing. Would you get that, Jay?
Probably not. Another
not.
piece
All
of
right.
furniture,
But you would get the next one, right?
The Bamboo Labs A1 mini 3D printer. I would. They're kind of expensive. This doesn't say. I feel like they're in the neighborhood of like $300-400. It's a mini 3D printer. It's highlighted as compact, very quiet, suitable for various printing options. I think 3D printing is cool. I've just not had the time or the money or even really the space to get into it. But it's something that me and several of my kids are interested in. So I see that
I'm
kind
highly
of in the future.
interested in it too. It'd be kind of fun. Make little things and stuff like that. It's very interesting. A lot of it's experimental, but I'm telling you right now, as AI continues, before you know it, AI paired with a 3D printer will get rowdy, capable of doing a lot of interesting things, to say the least. So that's a great one to consider for Christmas with a hobbyist or whatever else. All right, how about this one, Jay? This drone.
DJI Mini 4K drone, priced for its compact size and 4K video capability with a 3-axis gimbal stabilization. No word on pricing, but again, those are going to be in the $300 range probably. I've seen these before, so it's where you're going to be at. Also, depending on what version number you get too.
Would you get one of those babies? One of those drones?
Probably, yeah, I would. They're pretty fun.
Yeah,
they're
I think they're
really
very
good.
cool.
And there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. You can even, I mean, you might have to get it licensed to do this to commercial projects and stuff, but you can even do, helping people sell real estate and, do line markings and inspections of stuff and all kinds of things. There's a lot of skills that can translate into if you like flying drones and you're good at it and you enjoy that kind of stuff. There's a lot of things, a lot of jobs out there that are available too.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? When I was a kid, they had Cox airplanes and Cox motorcycles. That's what they called them. And they were little engines that ran on, gas kind of thing. I mean, it's different gas than what you put in your car or whatever. But anyway, and we used to play with those things a lot and fly those things around and stuff. Those things are nothing compared to today, man. The kids today have some incredible stuff, Jay.
Yeah, they do. Absolutely.
All right, last one. Jay, this is you right here, buddy.
The Phone Soap 3 is a portable phone sanitizer utilizing UVC light, priced at $68, can be recharged via USB A or C. I've seen these before. They look like a coffin for your phone. It's this little case you open up, you set your phone inside of it. They got UV lights in it, and they supposedly sanitize your phone. I don't know how much damage, if any, if that's doing to your screen or your case or whatever. UVC specifically tears things up. It breaks things down. It's what makes the old products from the 90s turn yellow. And things like that. It does sanitize. It does kill germs, but that's what people are using
weird
now. Yeah.
And people use these things for like medical equipment too, like CPAPs and other things. They have similar kind of technology where you put it in there and it supposedly sterilizes it or whatever. And, some things there too. So, I guess if you're paranoid about your phone, if you're like, hey, I don't want to touch anything. I don't want anything to touch me. If you're that kind of person, then this thing's great, right?
It's better than slathering your phone down in hand sanitizer.
Well, you got to do something, Jay.
Right.
All right, Adobe's in the news. Did you see this, Jay? This is very interesting to me because Adobe is, everybody loves to hate them. You love them because they've got some of the most incredible features in a lot of their software. They're at the top of their game with most of their software in terms of feature set and neatability, so to speak. But they're frustrating in many ways, too, because they're very hard to learn. They're difficult, complicated products. They're incredibly expensive. Adobe wants to change that image, Jay, with this one.
Yeah, they say that they are going to offer special versions of Photoshop, Adobe Express, Adobe Acrobat, and have included ChatGPT functions with them. So the integration, which they say is offered at no cost for features for image editing and converting text to PDF directly within ChatGPT. Users can access these features by typing in an app's name, followed by a command such as Adobe Photoshop, help me blur the background of this image.
And what would you say? Adobe Acrobat, create me a PDF of this? Boom.
I don't know really what you would use, maybe to enhance or clean up a PDF. Not sure what you would use too much AI for in a PDF.
You might take a Word doc and convert it to PDF, or you might paste something into the chat prompt and then say PDF this baby or something.
Yeah, and I think that overall software is going to move more toward that. I've seen that recently with some programs where you can just type what you want instead of having to know exactly what menu and what sub menu this thing is hidden underneath. For example, in a PDF, you can just save that. Say you want to convert it to an image, like a PNG file. Most users, if they're familiar with it, they're going to know you just save as, and you go down and you select the source and the output file, and you change it to a PNG file. But if you don't know that, if you're unfamiliar with the software, I can see where having kind of an AI editor interface where you just type like, hey, I want to save this file as a PNG, and it just knows what you're looking for, understands that, and gives you the output that you want. I could see that being, it's kind of cool. It kind of makes me feel like we're dumbing down software a little bit, but I also see where, man, that'd be still helpful, especially when you don't know anything about a software and you're trying to use it for the first time.
The first time, and or if you use software rarely. Okay, so I use a program called FMPEG or whatever it's called, and it's a command line utility that just does wonders with
video I'm familiar
and
with
audio.
FFmpeg.
Yeah, FFmpeg, okay? And for me, I think it's incredibly powerful software. I mean, it's shocking how powerful it is.
Right.
But at the same time, I put things in batch files and stuff like that, so I don't use it every day, and I don't remember the command lines. It's really helpful to use a ChatGPT or somebody to help me build and remind me of the details of the command lines. So it's a little bit of that going on. All right, hang tight. We've got more. This is Tech Watch. I'm Sam. He's Jay. You're you. And we keep an eye on tech so you don't have to. Back in seconds on Tech Watch TV. You buy NPITechGuys.com. That's the website for the broadcast. But if you want to check out who we are, what we do, networkprovidersinc.com, a group of incredible consultants that can help you with any of your IT needs, from strategic planning all the way through to execution. We can be your IT partner. NPI, networkprovidersinc.com. Check it out. All right. So, Jay, this is an interesting deal that PC World kind of brought this up, and I think they're onto something, so I wanted to highlight it too. They say modern monitors often feature USB hubs with USB 3.0 or 3P or whatever it is, 1 Gen 2 ports, whatever they are. They've got so many port names now, it's frustrating. But anyway, you've got all these modern ports on your monitors now, allowing transfer rates that are, 10 GPS and above and stuff like that. You kind of wonder with some of this. They say these ports can power devices and are suitable for high-speed peripherals, etc. And most people don't really realize those ports are there, number one. And number two, people aren't really using them. And most people are using slower ports and running out of ports and doing all these different things. And if you have a modern monitor, you might just have ports there. And if you don't, you might want to get one, even for the ports, Jay, because they're frequently underutilized, they're powerful, and they provide convenient connectivity options. They decrease your need for long cables. And anyway, it's positioned great, but I don't think many people realize this.
It is, and it's actually something that is underutilized. And one of the main reasons for that is because you do need to hook up, just like you would to a USB hub. You need to hook up one in addition to your signal cable, to your HDMI cable or whatever you're hooking your monitor and the speakers to your computer with. You need a USB A to B cable and connect that into the monitor's hub. In fact, there's a great monitor right now available on Amazon. They just knocked the price down from $99 to $89. It was already a steal at $99. It's a 27-inch monitor, Amazon Basics monitor, has speakers built in, has 3 different ports. So you've got, I think you have VGA, you have HDMI, and a display port on it.
VGA, what's that? I'm just kidding.
It may actually, it may actually be not VGA, it may be something else. I know there's
Probably
3
USB.
different connectors though, and it
the
has a
USB-C
USB hub in
monitors
it.
are the end thing too.
Yeah, there are some USB-C monitors. Now that if you're connecting that way, you probably don't need the extra hub connection. But on these, if you're connecting DisplayPort, you're connecting HDMI. Those are the 2 most common ones. You do need another cable to go to your USB-C or your USB port. But then, yeah, you have on this monitor in particular that I'm talking about, which I think is a great monitor. A lot of people have been using these. They have 2 USB ports on the side and I think 2 on the bottom. And so if you're going to plug in a keyboard or a mouse or even a wireless receiver, it's a good place to do it because it's going to be so close to where your keyboard or your mouse already is. Or if you're going to plug in a little drive or, almost anything, your camera, your webcam, for example, you don't have to run the wire all the way back to your computer. You can just do it right there. And that is very underutilized. Almost nobody do I see that has that capability uses it. And when you tell them about it, they're just like, oh, I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, it's something that, because you think, oh, those ports are just for the monitor. Well, no, the monitor is now really a combo. Monitor and a USB hub is really the point that we're getting at. They say they're also useful for quick connections for gamers, streamers. They can power accessories also, like light strips, LED strips, and other things like that.
That's one thing I was going to point out, too, is if you don't need communications, or maybe in some cases you don't want communications to your computer, it's a good place to get USB power takeoff points because they're already going to be powered by the power amplifier in the monitor itself. And also oftentimes you can just plug in lights and things that, say they're from China or whatever. You don't trust them being actually connected data-wise to your computer. It's a great place to get power ports from. Charge your cell phone, anything you want.
The last thing I'll mention, too, is it's a great in-between spot, too, where you can, if you have a little bit longer runs, you can be confident that you've got literally something adding gain to that, too, if you have long cables and stuff like that, right?
That's right, because it's got a hub situated in between, and so it's going to be reboosting that signal and everything else. So if your computer is, like 20 feet away or something, or wraps around the backside of your desk or something, when you plug in there, it's, that cable is short again because it's right at the hub base.
They say some ports also support fast charging, like the what is it, 1.2 spec or whatever. Anyway, they say they can charge smartphones and all kinds of stuff with some of these ports too, Jay. That's something most people don't realize. Hey, connect your phone to your monitor, and now you don't need so many ports for your computer.
That's right.
Plus, if you leave and come back and leave and come back, it can just stay there.
Right. And like I said, if you don't connect your monitor to the data side, it's a great place to charge your phone and things because, none of it's not getting connected to anything. So it's like having those data port blockers on there.
Do we have time to talk about this Raspberry Pi cool thing?
Absolutely.
It's a Raspberry Pi Foundation, right?
Yeah. They've announced on December.
They're having to raise prices too, huh?
Yeah, on their RAM. Actually, I mentioned this earlier in the show, and I thought we'd covered it on a previous show, but this is the story that I was thinking about in my head is the Pi Foundation has announced in December that they're going to have to raise prices because of the RAMs going up. RAM is hard to get, and they're going to be increasing the price of the Raspberry Pi 4 with the 4 gigabytes of memory by $5, and the Raspberry Pi 5 with 16 gigs of memory, they're going to have to raise it by $25. DDR5 and 4 are specifically hard to get. These price increases address the Foundation's launch with their new budget model. The Raspberry Pi 5 with 1 gigabyte of memory is priced at $45. And they've said that, and this is kind of cool, but they've said that these price hikes are temporary and they'll be adjusted down once the AI boom subsides. That's what they're blaming the memory shortage on, is the AI boom and everybody needing RAM.
And they're right, and it's not going to subside anytime soon.
Yeah. But it's kind of like you never really see that a lot of times, temporary price hikes.
Yeah, you never see companies say they're going to bring it down.
Yeah. So I hope that they do. I hope that they can, that the market supports it, and we'll see this. I personally, I see this price hike. We were talking about this the other day with, it happening. I think it's just a bubble. I think that it'll streamline itself out. It's kind of one of those self-fulfilling things. If you have a run on whatever it is, tulips or whatever, everybody thinks, oh my gosh, I got a stockpile. I got to buy now because the prices are going up and there's a problem with this. And, you do have a very complex economic thing with tariffs and everything else going on. But I think it will settle itself out. And I think it's going to be more short-lived than
too, Jay. Give them 2 or 3 years and they'll start to increase output to match things. If there's money to be made, people are going to fill that.
Exactly.
Vacuum, right?
Yeah, and especially as the price goes, it's just going to incentivize more manufacturers to come on and to start filling that gap. And you might actually even see in a few months or a year a slump in the prices because there might be so many on the market in RAM that it makes it go the other direction for a little while.
Well, some people think they're getting nothing for Christmas, but I'm getting YouTube for Christmas. I'm just kidding. But YouTube TV did announce that they will introduce what they're calling slimmed down streaming bundles for 2026. They're going to have specific things like a sports package and a variety of different packages. And they say more than 10 of the different bundles are expected. They only have details about the sports package right now, but more's coming. They say the goal is to provide subscribers with more tailored options. Jay, isn't that what everybody was looking for when they were cord cutters in the first place in the very beginning?
I was about to say the exact same thing. That wasn't that the whole process of cord cutting was we don't want packages. We don't want a la carte. We want a la carte, whatever it is that we want. We don't want all these bundles and, bringing in all these channels that we don't want being supported by other things that people do want. So I don't know. I applaud YouTube for realizing that their streaming thing is too expensive. It's as much as cable now in the like $70, $80, $90 range.
Nah, $83.99, buddy. Is their base deal now.
That's or
$82.99. Sorry,
I don't know anybody. I personally don't know anybody who pays YouTube for that.
Well,
no,
I
might know one person.
YouTube for different things and stuff. Sometimes they'll start it during the sports season and then drop it during the rest of the year.
Yeah,
this is a kind of an answer to a lot of that. And they say the exact pricing they don't know, but they know it'll be cheaper than the normal base cost. I'm sure they're going to get stuff for chick flick people and Disney people and all the different peoples, and I think that's wonderful news for Christmas. Hopefully they'll get it out sooner than later. I'm Sam Bushman for Jay Harrison. Thanks so much. NPI TechGuys.com. Make it a great tech day, will you? Thanks.